Welcome to the Universe Inside Our Mind. I'm Dr. David Jubb. We have an incredible show for you today. It's all about industrialisation and mass production that we have in the world. And how has this affected human beings? It's so amazing, of course, because when we look at people who live close to the Earth, on average, most of these people they do about 3 hours of work for the whole of the day. That's sort of about the amount of work that a person would do. And I just wonder about the effect of all of this mass production. Certainly, you know, you and I are the ones who sort of really are supporting that if we voted for it by buying and purchasing, because we really vote in the art of the way we live our life by what we purchase, much more than sort of going to the polls every 4 years or something. But it is so amazing because we live in a world where things have become sort of really mass produced, and human beings are the ones who are often sort of involved in the mass production, although machines sort of are involved now more, but still people are caught up with this mass production. People designed jobs, and then they looked around for human beings to fit those jobs, rather than looking for human beings and finding something that fits this human being. We found human beings to fit the mechanisation, and it was not uncommon for people to have even thought of others in terms of just a hydraulic function, an electrical function, and mechanical function. So person's life and what they did can have just been relegated to some hydraulic, electrical or mechanical function. People can have just been, for instance, been involved in putting a chip or putting a spring in a watch. We, as a society, we less than remembered that this person needed a customer. They needed to be able to see and be and feel a part of the whole process, rather than being just a cog and being alienated from the human qualities that we have, which are much more about, you know, growing, learning, achieving, and getting recognition. These are the very four things which motivate people day in, day out. But paying someone has a built-in escalating zero. What satisfied one yesterday might not be satisfying one today. But if there are motivating factors in the work that someone does, a person really has a much fuller life. And could we say that anomie, A-N-O-M-I-E, anomie, is the process of a person having become alienated from the whole. So we really have, other than thought in terms of health of others necessarily, though that should be the primary thing we can think of if we're going to engage someone, we should really be caring very much about how does this job affect their health. Of course, filing jobs can be not so interesting necessarily, and someone might have a job like that, and others might be connecting with the person saying, well, gee, you know, you need to have a better attitude here, you know, it's like, get this done, you know. Probably it's healthy that someone feels perhaps not so comfortable necessarily in a job which is alienating the person, where they really are not living your full potential necessarily. Of course, whatever tediousness that there is about life, we should do everything we can to take this in our stride, but that doesn't rule out your having a feeling inside of something more whole, and you're risking the things to be able to become more whole. Of course, there's the great parable of the two siblings having come of age, and the parent, one of the younger siblings comes to the parent and says that this sibling wants the inheritance, and the parent gives the child inheritance, and this child goes off to a foreign country and with riotous sort of behaviour, and little time passes and finally finds himself in the bottom of a pit feeding pigs, and the whole country had fallen into, you know, economic despair, and this child all of a sudden realizes, oh my God, even my parents' servants have more than me, and I'm going to do what I can to be able to go back to serve my parent. And upon this, of course, this sibling returns. The other sibling is there and sees that the parent gives this child a beautiful big kiss on the neck, and there's a great celebration, and says to the child, I'm so glad that you're home, and we're going to have a great celebration. The older sibling is listening and hears this and is a bit miffed. Gee, my parent has never done this for me. And goes to the parent and says, oh, well, you've never done this for me. And this parent says, whatever is mine is yours. There's the parable, and there are many like this, of the shepherd who has 100 sheep, not, 99. Why 100, you might wonder. At the end of the day, loses one of these sheep and leaves the flock to go searching for the lost sheep, and eventually, of course, finds this lost sheep, and with great celebration brings the sheep back, and there's going to be a big celebration. There's the story of the older a woman who has a dowry of 10 coins, and she needs these coins to be married, and she wakes very early one morning and finds that one of her coins is missing. Why 10 coins, you might wonder? Why not 7 or 6 or 5? Why 10? It was 10 coins in the story. It was 100 sheep. It was all the inheritance. And so she lights a lamp and begins taking everything apart in the home, searching with the lamp and broom for this lost coin. And of course she does find this lost coin, and there's great celebration. In all of these stories, we do really sort of what we can in the parable there to even struggle to be whole. And we, other than accepting of things, unless we have the whole, rightfully so. Often, sometimes we even can have sacrificed all for being whole. We care so much about being whole. And yet we live in a world, this program's very much about mass production, that's caused people to sort of really just be alienated, be just a function. Their role has been relegated to be just some electrical, hydraulical or mechanical function, and we haven't really connected with this person and given them something which actually really enables them to be with their full and whole potential. We design kitchens, for instance, where people are tucked away, old style, locked in a room. They never have a customer, and the customers who come in, they never see the people who actually prepare the food. You just see the wait person, that's it. This is very old style. It's new more for awareness that people are interested in actually seeing food prepared. All the cooking shows attest to this. We love seeing things being done colourfully, artfully, and it's an art. And why would we want to just lock someone in a back room so no one could see that? And then these who do this work have no expression of their wholeness and are completely without a customer. Most people never really thought much of industrial psychology, but if we have a kind heart, which could we say mass production have caused us to actually have time become equivalent to money. Whereas in these older societies, time is equivalent to your creativity. We could move more back to a world which makes sense health-wise for all of us to be able to live life more abundantly, for those who design jobs to become more aware that you and I are interested to have something where we're learning, and we'll participate in this long before we would participate in something where we other than feel we're growing. We will participate in something day in and day out if we feel we're growing, if we feel we're learning, if we feel there's some achievement, if we feel there's some acknowledgement. These four things are very much distinctly sort of human qualities, and they have no built-in escalating zero. It doesn't have a reward of itself. It is for its own sake. And when we do things more in this way, we have a longer life. Studies show that when someone has a beautiful inner calm and they enjoy what they do, it leads toward the person having a longer life. When we look at all the professions, all of them, there's like some 260 odd professions that's listed in the last social indices. Did you know the job, the profession where people live the longest? Do you know what profession this is? An orchestra conductor. She lives the longest life, or he lives the longest life. Why does she or he live a longer life conducting the orchestra? Out of all professions, the conductor conducting the orchestra absolutely has to be in her or his creative element. And they continuously are invited and inviting others to always be in their creative element. Their job is about this, isn't it? It's very much about aesthetics. That's the one job that's totally about aesthetics and happens to be the longest living profession, or longest lived persons in this profession. Of course, doctors are amongst the shortest lived profession, not because of stress, but you're truly because of gluttony, which is stressed. Not because of the job, but because of gluttony. Doctors tend to eat some 72 things in a day, and they often have a steaming bog inside, and of course attorneys do too, and innkeepers as well. So these people don't live a long life because they really are gluttons, but lots of us might less than live a good, nice, long life because we continuously have gone through life, and we perhaps haven't really developed and been in a manner of our full potential. But could we? We could, of course. It's yours and my choice. Even if I was a dishwasher and I did that, I would do everything I could to be able to perhaps make some things with my hands. I could change things around, but we all, if we're not so comfortable, then we're learning. But if we're just comfortable where we are, it's called zero level learning. So we live in a world where some of us can have a job where you're close to the icebox. We can raid the icebox, we get cookies and milk. It doesn't pay as much, but it's more fun. And some of us will have to get out in the cold and mow the lawn, and we'll pay you a bit more for that. But it's sort of a bit of a job. Nobody really wants to do that. It's hard work. We'll pay you a bit more for that though. But it's not a motivating job at all. It doesn't motivate. These things don't really empower. Love's work really is the most empowering. It's where someone has personally attending to others, personally assisting and tending to others. There's a great satisfaction in this, and where someone really isn't tending to others, studies show they're the kind of person who really doesn't make their bed. If you make your bed in the morning, it absolutely is an absolute indicator that you are in service of other people. And studies show that when someone is really not making their bed, they're not really in service of others. And sort of, when we're not in service of others, sort of we're not really in service of ourselves quite, you know. We live in a world where things are so mass-produced and stamped out that lots of individuality is gone, and our creativity, and things are symmetrical. But organic things are not really symmetrical. But we live in a world where it's sort of supernatural. We have no idea what is unnatural. We have no idea what is natural. And many people living in the supernatural have no idea what's unnatural or natural, and just living in the world of the supernatural with all this aluminum and forks and bowls and cups and knives, and people getting their car valet parked and eating steak and going to the movies. There must be much more to life, of course. Everybody is aware there is, and we're not necessarily satisfied unless we're really living more to our full potential, but we can be in denial about it. The program really is very much about your thinking in terms of how has mass production, industrialization really affected the quality of what you do in your life, and are there things that you could do about this? When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit more about mass production and the effect of this as far as symmetry and things like this is concerned in life, things being just stamped out. What sort of effect does this have on us as human beings? This is Dr. David Jubb. This is The Universe Inside Our Mind. Stay tuned for some more exciting information coming up. Okay, it's so amazing, you know, because in my home I do everything I can to have things that's crafted by hand. I really do everything I can not to have anything in the home stamped out by a machine. And I'm sort of very sensitive. So for the most part, everything I have in my home is something that was made by hand, and small, intricate, bright things, little. But I really have avoided as much as possible things being stamped out by a machine. And what I have that's stamped out by a machine, I do everything I can to disguise it a little bit. When we have an engine and it's square and it runs square and it produces a square wave, that affects our heart, because our heart really is much more elliptical. There's not like a symmetry much there. It's sort of really more elliptical, more, you know. When we see things all that's only ever stamped out around us, it can cause us to actually really be hungry for the forest and have a sort of a cabin fever. And we might not wonder why we other than care to be in this environment, but if you do care to be in an environment, it often is because something has gone beyond the square. Something has taken things beyond the straight. If you build a path in your garden, you want to put a bend in it. If you make a bridge across a river, or you put a little bend in it. You know, put a bend in the path. We love it. We can't stand things straight. And there is no such thing as straight in nature. Energy is round us, not square us. And so we live in a world which is mass-produced things which are symmetrical, and there is no such thing as this in nature. When a sound from a machine is emitted, unless it's possible really to get a sound of water to break it up, that is a sound which can create a confluence within you. But a square machine sound heard is other than a friendliness, really. And so we need to be able to have things within also that's breaking square up. And so if we bring the sound of running water, we have a waterfall, or we have one of those little sound boxes, they have the sound of the crickets. The sound of the crickets and the ratio between beats and notes affect the way amino acids are put together in our body. We're meant to have the sound of the frogs and the cricket and the birds, and this creates health for us. When we build a waterfront, actually the designers sometimes actually even go to the extent of having bird sounds in the environment, and the bird sounds cause us to feel a little bit more like we feel we're at the beach. We relax a little like we feel like we're at the coast, and do you know the bird sounds actually are an energy which is creating health for us. So we should do everything we can. Where you have square, put something in front of your eyes which is a little more organic. Get a tree, get a plant, get a drawing. Put something before your eyes which is a little more organic. It can assist you to have better health. When we have more curve, more round in front, where we have more organic, this supports greater sense of well-being. Where we just have square and straight, this really does affect the perception of animals. It affects the perception of humans as well. Studies show this. We really are more designed to live more off the straight and have more of a curve. And so mass production has often meant symmetry, straight, square. Symmetry, straight, square isn't energy being around us, isn't organic. And so we live in a world where mass production has really created enemy in and of itself. It's created alienation. It's caused us not to necessarily have a vibration which really is more open-ended in ourself. So when we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about what can we do more in the home where you are given and granted that we live in a world of mass production. This is Dr. David Jubb. This is the universe inside our mind. Stay tuned for some more exciting information coming up. Okay, we're back. It's so amazing because, you know, we could have mindfulness no matter what we're doing. We could be mindful. And mindfulness really is where you're washing the dishes for the sake of washing the dishes, not for the sake of eating or the sake of something else. Mindfulness is really getting done what's put in front of us and being present for this. This is what mindfulness is. And so why not bring some flowers into the home? Why not make sure that you can do what you can to bring more music and things which is more like the sound of the birds in the morning? You know, there's some sort of music which is a bit more like this, isn't it? And there are other music which is really very, very square, and you know, and everything is sort of really just pumped out. But in my view, I think most people are so revved up already. Why do we want to give something there to sort of rev people up even more, you know? I think people need to mellow out a little bit, and we need to uncreate, you know. Anyway, we're living in a world where the most modern thing to do today in furniture and this sort of a thing is more, it's sort of, what could we say, simple. It's what's practical and simple. So furniture design has moved more towards what's practical and simple. All of the heavy sorts of stuff has been disappeared from modern homes and things. Modern homes don't really have any heavy furniture which you have to walk around. The homes have become more open. They're making use more of the floor space, and they're making use more of movable sorts of seating things rather than fixed seating. We've moved more into a world where homes are now having more light which is indirect light, rather than light in your eyes sort of thing. And you know, my recommendation is to do what you can to look around your home where you are and clear away the things that really are just stamped out by machines and things, and bring into your life more things which are made more by hand. By doing this, then you're encouraging the creativity of people's hands and artwork rather than the machine. You're actually doing things to assist with people to have a customer, whereas all the mass-produced stuff, there isn't. And we should never blame somebody for having a company that does things like that, because it's you and I, it's up to us. It's up to you and I in what we purchase in the way we live our life. Much more so by what you spend your dollar on than by, you know, blaming people out there. But definitely look at your home. Look and see, what can we do to create more organic? If you've got straight somewhere, bring something a little round. If you've got a lot of straight, bring nice round, because round will bring more abundance. If you have a store, you want to do what you can to also bring some round and broadleaf. If you've just got sort of very sharp, sort of spiny sorts of leaves, you might have some discernment in your life, but you won't really have as much abundance. But we've got to do what we can to live more with abundance, and so look at your home. Get rid of writing, reading. Put reading just in one place. Don't have reading material in every room. That's wrong. That's not right. Don't have reading material in the bathroom. That's not a good place to have reading material. If you bring reading material in there, take it in there and then take it straight back out again. But don't leave it in there. Don't have reading material in the kitchen. Do not have reading material in the bedroom. And should not really have a mirror facing your bed. There's so many things that one could do to really be more organic. There is no such thing as a mirror in nature, and why would one then want to have put the mirror right in front of the bed? But we do things sort of without really thinking of the consequence of it, and what I'm asking you to do is have a focus more on what's natural in your own home. Do what you can do to bring the outdoors indoors. Do what you can to bring plants in. Start looking and caring for plants. Bring waterfalls in. Got only half a minute left, did you say? So amazing how time flies. This is Dr. David Jubb. This is the universe inside our mind. Stay tuned for some more exciting shows.